My lesson will be an ELA lesson for fourth graders. I will be doing blended learning using a web quest to differentiate an ELA fact and opinion unit. So I'll be integrating reading and writing standards together. Students will need to be able to distinguish between a fact and an opinion, draft an original opinion using reasons and evidence to support their central idea, analyze an argument for persuasive techniques, and organize, communicate, and verbally share an original opinion with their peers. um, Blended learning and a web quest is going to be appropriate for my students because it's useful in being a landing ground for providing choice to students. The web quest provides students with access to content in various forms, for examples, videos, text, and readings. The web quest can be used for students as a reference for what tasks need to be completed. They can view their rubric to make sure they're on track to be successful, and it provides guidance for early finishers. A web quest is appropriate because it allows them to explore the content and complete various forms of assessment, while I differentiate instruction with students in small groups. My district is one to one with Chromebooks, so we'll be using the Chromebooks. Google Sites is what I use to create the web quest. Moat is an extension on the Chromebook that I have used to add in some recordings on the web quest, which will allow students to hear the directions read to them. And students will complete an ed puzzle for assessment. They will also have choice in how they show their understanding of distinguishing between fact and opinion through creating a project. They'll have the option to create a Flipgrid video presentation, a quizzes review game, or an anchor chart. And in each, no matter which form of assessment they choose, they'll have to be able to describe opinion and fact and provide examples of each one. Pre assessments that I have used to help guide my instruction. One piece of data that I have decided to use is our text dependent analysis writing that students completed at the beginning of this school year as a starting point for where they are in writing. So I'm going to use that to help guide me in knowing which students I need to pull into small group to provide extra support to. I am also using our STAR assessment data from the beginning of the year. I looked at the standard of summarizing key details and ideas because my students are going to be analyzing um, text for fact and opinion, and they're going to need to be able to support their own opinion with details from the text. So it's important for them to be able to pull those key details from the text. So I use that to help me determine which students are going to need extra support and then which students will also be able to provide some support to their peers if they are already proficient with that skill. Forms of assessment that I'm using. So I have assessment links throughout my web quest. For example, there is an ed puzzle about fact and opinion. Another formative assessment is a fact and opinion sort. Students will be reading several passages throughout this week long unit. They'll be underlining and highlighting facts and opinions throughout passages. Students will be completing several different organizers based off of the passages that they read. And then students are going to have peer conferences where they have a conference form that they fill out for each other. they're going to reflect on that feedback that they get from their students and meet with me to plan and prepare for their final writing piece. And I have a rubric that's going to be our summative. So once they write their final opinion writing, we'll use that rubric to assess it. And the specific standards that are being addressed is the students will be able to distinguish between fact and an opinion. The student will be able to draft an original opinion using reasons and evidence to support their central idea. The student will be able to analyze an argument for persuasive techniques. The students will be able to organize, communicate, and verbally share an original opinion with peers. The student will be able to draft an original argument using reasons that are logical while providing a concluding statement. So, like I said, this is a 5-day unit that we are working on. So, on Monday, students will play a fact and opinion sort with a partner after they have watched and completed an ed puzzle for fact and opinion. They will some students, depending on the data that I have from pre-assessment, will meet with me in small group for underlining facts and highlighting opinions in a passage. Some students will be ready to work on this independently. And then on Monday, the last thing that students will do, this is where they have their choice. They will choose to either create an anchor chart in their reading journal, create a Flipgrid to teach someone how to distinguish between fact and opinion, or create a quizzes review. On Tuesday, students in whole group will see modeled for them how to create an opinion based off of a text, and they will see me model for them finding evidence from the text to support my opinion. So they'll have an anchor chart, and they'll also have another modeled lesson that they can watch on here. Then they will create an organizer where they state their opinion, give 3 reasons, and then examples to support those reasons from a text that they receive. In a previous week, Smoke Jumpers is a text that my students read, so they will go back to that text and answer if being a jumper is a job that they would like to have. They'll complete the organizer to share their opinion using reasons and examples from the text. And then they have their opinion writing rubric to help guide them. On Wednesday, students will look at drafting an introduction, and then they will check out tips for persuading readers. So, this is a slide with different techniques on how to share their opinion. And then there are opinion prompt cards for them to use to practice writing an opinion using the organizer that we've been using all week. Then there will be a text for them to read, and they will have to draft a short response explaining why cats are the best pets. Even if they don't agree with it, they need to get practice. They will be getting practice from going into the text to come up with some reasons for cats. Then on Thursday, students will watch tips for writing a conclusion. They will have prompts that they can choose from to share their opinion about. So there are 5 different prompts for them to choose from. And then they will complete an organizer to share their opinion. Then students will begin to draft and share their opinion about the topic, and they will meet with a peer for a writing conference. After getting feedback from their writing conference, they will continue on Friday to finish their draft and publish it after meeting with me. um, One of the things that I am looking for feedback on would be some ways to integrate technology in a fun way for them to share their opinions. I'm kind of torn on if I should do another Flipgrid because students have become familiar with Flipgrid. I have also considered maybe using Book Creator for them to go on and publish their opinion onto there so we can make a class book. But I'm kind of torn because everything that we already have to fit in for the week is quite a bit. So I'm not sure how reasonable it is to try to add one more thing. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.